Are we live?
It looks like
We're
it.
live. Live-ish. Well,
Hi,
okay.
everybody.
Is my internet messed up again?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
fun.
okay, Mike. We're just live. Hi,
Yeah,
everybody.
we're just trying to.
Welcome.
Hi. Ah,
Hi,
goodness gracious.
Lion.
Hey,
Hello.
speaking of Mr. Lion, I got something in the mail. So let's check out what I got in the mail. You ready? Let's see.
Oh my
What did
goodness,
you
it's
get?
official. Hold on, how can we
Look,
make
look.
you?
I can't,
Let's put you. Let's
hold on,
make you big. Hold on,
No,
hold
it's
on.
me you're making big. Oh, that's
Yeah.
better.
man. I couldn't even open it. I need to work out. Look. All right. Let's see what we got here.
What do we got? What do we got?
See.
What have you got?
There we go. Check that out.
Oh,
Ah,
look at that. The brew tea coffee.
beautiful.
Look, like Vanna
Beautiful.
White. Look. Yeah. Hey, I got the chocolate hazelnut
If
because
only
that's
if
the most
your
gangster.
internet was working clear. Wow.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
My
it's
It's
paper's
okay.
still.
lagging.
People
It's
can get the
okay.
gist.
You'll take a picture and you'll make a post out of this,
Yeah.
right?
What did you get? Yeah, absolutely. Take a picture. What did you get? Hazelnut,
He
I
got
got
at the
chocolate
chocolate.
hazelnut.
Yeah.
chocolate hazelnut.
That was the most gangster thing I could find. And then, okay, how do you say it, guys? Pecan or pecan? How do you say it?
Yeah,
Come on, I want people
that's
to
a
Pecan.
chime
good.
in.
I say pecan.
Me too. I say pecan. I'm with you, Lion.
Okay, well, we had a
Oh,
good run. You're
and
putting U's in words, and now you're calling it pecans and stuff. Yeah,
did you
okay.
get whole beans or did you get grind?
Oh no, I had to get grind because I ordered a whole bunch of coffee a while back, but I didn't pay attention, and it was all whole
Okay.
bean. And I was like, I'm not gonna go buy a machine, so I'm not making this up, man. I tried to like bash it with the mallet.
Oh
I
my
was like,
goodness.
I was like,
Hmm.
hey, that 14.95 for a grinding machine probably would have been a good investment. All right. So thank you, Mr. Line. Hey, show the folks if you got it now. Show the folks where they can get this at, man. Because I'm gonna have to drink it tomorrow and tell people if I like it next week. So you nervous?
Oh, absolutely, man. Hey, yes, because we need a review, so make sure you drop a review on there. But yeah, everyone can pick up some at their favorite location here at the Brewtique.store. You can get all several kinds. We've got sample packs. We've got flavored from Brazil, Colombia, all across the country, ethically sourced, by the way, as well, direct from the factory. It does not get sent out to you and roasted until you order. So you get it fresh to your door. But yeah, pick some up. Everyone, leave some reviews, pick some up for my wife and I, the boutique.store.
Am I the
Beautiful.
only one? I can see his wife over there, like, you get this wrong and you're on the couch, mister. Is that you've been practicing? That's where Lion. Where's Lion been practicing his cue?
Yes.
And he's not. Yeah, he's a good man.
Yes.
All right.
Boutique.store. Thank you guys.
All right. So two things are gonna happen. Either I'm gonna be raving about the coffee or I'm gonna just forget about it and not mention it. So because that's how I roll, man. Hey, people take my word. If you take away my word, you ain't got nothing but a cheap camo hat and a flannel shirt, man. All right. But
Yes.
I know I'm rolling with the Lions, so we got this. All right. Let's roll this intro and let's get this party started. Y'all want to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds good to me.
All right,
Here
let's
we
do
go.
it.
Are you looking to grow your business and your mindset alongside a fun and awesome pack? Grab a chair and your favorite beverage and join Mike Ashebrainer, the business mechanic, and his win-win network for the Hounds of Business Happy Hour.
All right. Am I still on here? I am on here.
You're
All
supposed
right. Before
to.
we get, yeah. Hey, real quick. So I don't know if you want to tell everybody or not, Izzy, but you had a busy week and you did it good today. Is that what you got to
Oh,
tell the people, man? Hmm?
so I've been working for the last 2 weeks, day and night, on this certification for this amazing assessment tool to help the managers, the deal with their team members better. And this morning was my exam, and I am proud and very happy to say, of course, that I passed because I put in the effort. And yeah, so I was exciting. It was very exciting for me. I was thrilled. That was a good thing. And of course, being French Canadian, I treated myself to French croissant and des croissants en français and a cappuccino just to celebrate and make myself you have to celebrate the wins, right, Mike?
Yeah, you did. You called me. I was like, "How'd it go?" You said I passed. Now I'm going to talk to you in the afternoon because I have to eat my fancy food. You put me on hold for 3 hours to eat fancy food. We'll talk about that later. All right. So here's what I want. Congratulations. I am proud of you.
Thank,
Happy for you.
thank
And
you.
again, helping each other, pushing each other up through times, man. There's no price tag on it. It's priceless, absolute priceless. So love you guys.
Absolutely.
Wow, what we do here in the Hounds, absolutely amazing. And my superpower is just pulling y'all together, man. y'all
Hey,
do so much.
yeah, but that's no small feat, dude.
You know, I got one gift. I use it, and then I got all you super pros. All right. So speaking of super pros, guys, before we bring on our amazing guest, I had to put that out there. Chasing forehand. You guys know him. He's a Hounds favorite. We love him to death. I or the Hounds have never put out an official endorsement for an organization, nonprofit, a cause, and a mission. All right. So I wanted to make sure it's a big deal to me, but I wanted to make sure that I did this. So I wanted to everybody here go check this out. I met Chasen over about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, and our paths crossed again. This guy has built a rock solid team of heart centered, high professional, high level people, all based on passion. He's like me. His superpower is just getting people riled up and then brilliant people help him out, right? So we need more heart centered, brilliant people to join in, figure this out. All right. So here's what's fun. March for Good. Okay. Let me share the screen real quick because it's so easy that a redneck can do it, I think. Let's hope. All right. So you remember the Geico commercials? Yeah. I'm showing my age.
Yes.
All right, so it's HR for you, and they're all about pay equity and helping people in community that's fighting homelessness and lower income and regular neighborhoods. There's so many of them and across the United States, and they are putting together the Transformation Kitchen, and this is going to help with food insecurity, uh, combat homelessness, and people can make a decent wage through this thing. They're
Mhm.
doing something about it. They're not just giving handouts; they're giving hand up and they're helping people become self-sufficient. These folks want to do better. They just need resources and people to believe in them and help them do so. And I led a nonprofit for 3 years, and I did the same thing. And I love this mission. I support it 1,000%. All the proceeds go to the program. So I'm going to go to join now. When you go here, and there's a code on the screen, guys. I think there is. Should be. Yep, there will be. So there's a free code. All right. They had a generous donor that made this available for you guys. So go through this and you can join the team. You can pick your people. So join the team. Right now, Chasen's got one. D Grant Smith, he's got 9 spots. Dr. News on here, Sheena.
Oh,
Guys, jump on board. Whether it's time, publicity, sharing post, anything happens, man. $5 goes a long way. This is unbelievable. The people surrounding this, I'll be honest. I just saw a bunch of people I respect and went, "Wow." That's I was
mm.
like, "What is this?" I was gonna support it just because of the superstars and the passion. They're on Dr. CJ's show today, just dropping all of this. It was unbelievable. Chasen has been on show after show, man. Like even Oprah would be like, "Wow, how's this guy on all these shows?" He's absolutely driven with this mission. So if you have a heart for others less fortunate, people who are trying to create their own well-being, they're people who we're not just handing stuff. These guys, these men and women in these communities are putting their own skin in the game. This is a team effort, and I love it to death. So go to this. All right, check it. I'm gonna stop sharing because I'll mess this up. So I am absolutely joining the team. Um, I might even talk to Chasen and do my own team. Hey, jump on board, show up, learn more. This is the real deal. So the code I'll put on the screen throughout the show. Um, Scan the QR code, everybody. But you can use that code. And would you do me a favor, Isabel? Will you go to my profile on LinkedIn and put that in? It's in the caption
Of
section.
course. Of
Yeah.
course.
And I will give you the link so you can go share that as well. All right. So everybody
Sure.
go out, learn more, plug in, reach out to the hounds, reach out to me, and we will be happy to do that. And so thank you, Chasen. Thank you, Sheena, all the rock stars of this organization. Unbelievable, guys. We appreciate you so much, and all the folks that put in their time to help this possible. I think they raised over a thousand. All right. And if we go over 70, there's 70 free seats. So let's go ahead and go over 70 now so we can get more. All right. So somebody's going to take care of the extra 70s. So let's push that. Somebody's willing to meet the challenge. All right. But this is a worthwhile cause, and I'm super honored to be a part of it. And the Hounds is a partner of HR4U. So thank you for that, Jason. All righty. And real quick, because I don't want to steal all the thunder, but we have another special, amazing hound. Let's bring him on up. Jason Wilson, brand new hound. How are you today, bro?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So you have Freedom Fight Expo. Again, I saw you running with people. I said, wow, this guy run with some good people. I got to find out what's going on. So tell us about this. Tell us about how it formed and what you need the good folks out here to know, man. We got the most supportive community and people in the comments. Let us hear it, brother.
Okay, so Freedom Fight Expo is a heart-led mission and also a God-led mission. I received this idea from God back during the pandemic, actually. I was actually quarantined in an apartment in Bogota for a couple of weeks, and it just so turned out that I couldn't go home.
Mm.
And the reason why I was there, I was helping a friend of mine manage an English institute, and it was only supposed to be for 15 days. And the day I was supposed to go home, I couldn't travel home because there was a shutdown. So I asked God, okay, what would you have me do during this time? And he said, start a podcast. I said, okay. So I started a podcast, and I organized an event through LinkedIn, sent out a bunch of DMs to some of the top connections that I had on LinkedIn. And Ray Leonard Jr., the son of Sugar Ray Leonard, answered my DM. He said, Jason, I would love to speak at your event. And so the night of the event, there was actually a blackout in my neighborhood where I was staying. And so I had to call Ray Leonard Jr., explain to him what was going on, explain to all the guests. And Ray Leonard Jr. said, Jason, don't worry about it. This kind of thing happens when you're trying to do something positive. And I said, what a great guy. So I hung up the phone. 15 minutes later, the power comes back on, and we're able to do the event. And through that whole experience, Ray Leonard Jr. started this company, Ovations. He's really, really passionate about keynote speaking. And so he organized a platform to send speakers to universities and corporations to do speaking engagements. So I'm actually an ambassador of Ovations, and through my Freedom Fight Expo, I help some of the top speakers on LinkedIn to get speaking engagements through his organization. So
Wow.
back during this past December, the original plan was to start this expo in Atlanta in 2025. And guys said, Jason, do not wait until 2025, start now. I said, okay, how are we going to do this? And he said, online. So I said, okay, brilliant idea. Everybody's online and there's no restriction to who can participate. So I started talking to people in my network. Kelly Steinica was one of them. Patsy Quay is another one. And they said, Jason, wonderful idea. What can we do to help you to organize it? What do we do to get involved? So we actually started our first expo in February. And we're planning on doing this expo every second weekend of every month. And what it is that we're organizing some of the top speakers, and we have a 3-day event. So we have 5 speakers featured on Friday, 5 on Saturday, and we have a pastor that does a prayer service on Sunday. So the whole idea is that we help people all over the world, no matter where you are, to get actually free of depression, anxiety, PTSD, suicidal ideation. And I think one of the most serious cases is suicidal ideation, we really, really want to help people with that. I mean, the statistics now with children committing suicide is alarming. We want to do something to help people in that area.
Man, golly. You know, and it is. And here's I'm gonna let Isabel load you with with something, but I'm s- I'm so glad to see down to earth, real good people making stuff happen and doing action. We talk about it. It's like another buzzword, right? It's like all these other things we hear about, right? But when I see people just coming together and making stuff happen, I can't get over it. So I think my internet's all jacked up. So thank you for what you do. Isabel, you got something?
Well, first of all, Jason, I'm so thrilled. I was so happy to see that you were coming on for a little bit. And as
Thank
someone in my immediate family committed suicide about 5.5 years ago, and I really want to commend you and thank you for all the work that you do for them, because when you reach that point, there's it's despair, right? You don't think that there's hope, and there's always hope. There's always something to live for. And
you. Yeah.
I am telling you, if whatever I can do to help, reach out, DM me. I'm a speaker. I'll do it for free, obviously. Whatever, I'm here for you, brother, and don't hesitate. Just contact me. And what you're doing is so inspiring. I want to be part of it. So I don't have any questions
Oh,
for
great.
you. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your support. And Mike, I can't thank you enough, man. Thank you for having me here on the show. Thank you for your support as well. I love the hounds.
And we love you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. It's an honor. And again, guys, shameless plug time. Look at the heart-centered, high-level pros in this thing, man. Jason and you guys, I mean, everybody's getting rave, reviews and publicity, and that's what we're here for, man. I'm not greedy. If I get power and leverage, you know what I do? I give it out. That's why we get more of it. And we're making money. We're the hounds of business, not the hounds of leisure. We're making impact. We're making money, life changing, man. All three in the same time. So thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this, and thank you for what you guys do. And if you're out there, and by the way, don't this macho stuff, man, can go too far. Look, if you're suffering, if you're struggling, if you're having that, plug in. Plug in. Don't hold it in. Don't be a tough guy. I'm telling you, man, the toughest thing you could do is to reach out for help and be surrounded by supportive people. I've been there. We've all been there.
Yes.
Don't do it alone. So Jason, man, heart goes out to you. Anything that you need, man, we're there for you, brother.
Thank you so much. Our next event is actually April the 12th, 13th, and 14th. So we have a page on LinkedIn, Freedom Fight Expo. Just go there, go to the event, and that event will send you to our website where you can sign up. And the event is free. There's no cost, so anybody can participate.
Wonderful.
Do,
Very
do me
beautiful.
a favor. Go into my profile. There's a lot of people watching. Go into my profile and drop all that in there so folks can click it easily and support you, man. I appreciate you.
Okay. Awesome.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
My pleasure. All right. So should we bring her on? She's been so back here, so patient. She's a lovely lady. Let's. There we go.
Hi.
Mike, I have to tell you that Melissa and I promised that we were not going to talk about opera and leave you in the dust over here, because if we start, we'll never talk about the wonderful things that she does. But I might eventually sneak it in somewhere. I just wanted to let you know that.
Let me tempt you. Please, let me tempt you.
Did you all see how I got beat up the last several times? Yeah. So the disco, the improv, I'm like, wow, man. I met my match. So hey, pleasure having you here. I'll let you all opera and whatever you want. Call in Phil Davis. He sings the opera. So I'll just clap. So hey, super happy having you here. You've done a lot of stuff, right? You've been in business. I mean, you got a lot of business knowledge, but what healthcare,
Yeah.
nonprofit, right? Education. You've done a lot of stuff. But now
Music.
you have your own consulting business. Is that right?
It's moving from consulting to more coaching, but yeah, I kind of do both.
Great. So
So
kind of walk us through, you had a big illustrious career. Where did you start? Was it healthcare? Like, was you corporate? Tell us a little bit of background to where you were so we can draw that to where you're at today.
Okay. Well, I actually started out in music. Like when I was like 4, I
Nice.
knew this was what I was going to do, and I just couldn't wait to do it. And
Mm.
my family wasn't quite so enthusiastic about it. My dad was career enlisted military, and my mom was a housewife. And they're like, "You're going to do what?" And I'm like, yes, I'm going to play French horn and I'm going to do it in orchestras and I'm going to have a great time doing it. So that's what I was doing. And I did my master's at Yale and I did my doctorate and I was like hell bent for leather that this is what I was going to do. And so that's what I did for quite a while. I was a soloist in Rome. I toured the country. I played in orchestras, and then I was teaching at a university out on the West Coast. And I was doing the professorship while I play and gig thing. So, but then some stuff came up, and when we talk about the how, I'll talk to you about that. But it became evident that I needed to change, and that I needed to change my focus. And that's when I moved into first the healthcare area, where I did that, and then into some
Uh-oh.
consulting that I did with my husband. So yeah, I've done a little bit of everything, but that's okay. I mean, I think those kind of experiences make you richer because you just have so much to pull on and so many things. And the beauty of the music thing, see, the thing about being an artist is it's not what an artist creates that makes an artist special. It's the eyes that the artist has for the world that allows them to create. And I can still bring this vision into what I'm doing now because I'm just going to see things a little bit differently. I have that artist vision. So, and a lot of the hounds do. I mean, like, Izzy and I talking about opera and stuff. And I mean,
For 15 minutes, the first time we spoke ever.
I know, right? About the magic flute. Mozart's my
Yes, you
favorite.
remember that story.
But I used to sing in a cover band too. I mean, we did cover songs, we did rock and roll, so music's music. I'll take all of it.
Same here.
Dude, I'm having so many technical issues. So Izzy, can you I sent you a message backstage
Oh,
saying
I'm
rescue me.
sorry.
Yeah, go check that out. I might have to reset. So you need this. See if you can get that. Can you access that?
I can certainly try.
Go ahead and try. And while you're doing that, my fuzzy
That is what I am doing right now. Hey, I have
good.
it. I have it. So you want me
Good
to
deal.
ask all these questions?
No, that's just guides. Come on now. You're
Oh,
spoiling our
okay.
secrets, man.
Ask whatever
Yeah.
you like. We can talk opera if you want to talk opera.
Oh,
Jason says he has his keyboard. We can start a band. I know Dee is like, we should start a band, so we could just do it right now. You sing, right?
should totally take over and never let him back in. And we should do an entire show about opera.
Yes, we should.
We should.
Yes.
Okay. So what's your favorite? No. That would be, that would be fun for us. And I'm sure it would be fun for some of the audience members. But I mean, it wouldn't be helpful in the way that we want it to be today, right? So
Yes.
one of the first questions that Mike had written, and I want you I want to honor that because it's important. So you do EQ via empathy, but a lot of people confuse the two, confuse what is EQ and what is what is empathy and how do you differentiate them. So can you explain what the difference between the two is?
Absolutely. So the thing is with empathy, you have to have 3 components to it to be able to actually make it work. The first is what someone else is feeling has to evoke an emotion in you. So you're telling me that your dog died and you're sad, and then I feel sad in a reaction to that. The second thing that needs to happen is that I have to have a feeling of discomfort around that, right? So what I'm feeling about what you're feeling actually spurs me on. The third is that it actually creates action, and that action is known as compassion. So that's where I really set this apart. It's not just empathy, it's actionable empathy, because so many people, like 95% of the population has empathy, but not everybody uses it. So when you think about empathy via EQ, think of it like this. You're the leader. You
Yes.
are the person that brings the energy. You're the person that brings the spark. You're the person that brings the electricity, which if you're thinking about a wall and a wall socket, you're that energy behind that socket, right?
Mhm.
Over here is a computer. On this computer, on this database, is all of your soft skills, the kindness, the compassion, the communication, the listening skills, whatever. But you've got to connect those two. Empathy is the cord that connects your leadership spark with all of those EQ skills. Because if you can't relate to people, those skills are on that computer and it's dark in a corner.
Yeah.
You
And
have it, but you can't use it.
it's unplugged, collecting
Exactly.
dust.
Yep.
And actually, that's not a question on Mike's sheet. That's one of my questions, because I hear a lot of, I'm sympathetic to the cause, or, and I feel like there's a lot of people who don't understand what the difference between empathy and sympathy is. So can you please enlighten us?
I can actually.
Thank
And
you.
they're very different.
Yes.
So empathy says, I feel with you. I am in the suck up to my neck with you. Sympathy says, I feel sorry for you, but I don't really feel a whole lot. And the problem with sympathy is a lot of times people see it as pity. So it comes off negatively. People in the medical profession are actually trained to stay away from sympathy because it can create such a negative reaction in the patients. So it's kind of considered more of a negative emotion as opposed to the pro-social emotions, the ones that are actually going to, where we can actually help each other, like empathy and compassion.
And what other, how did you call them? Pro-social? Okay, so what others would there be?
So the two that I'm primarily working
Focus
with,
on? Yeah.
yeah, is empathy and compassion. But I mean, kindness is pro-social. Being able to facilitate teamwork or work in teams is pro-social. Good communication skills and listening is pro-social. Anything that's going to take that interaction between people and make it better and make it positive is going to be pro-social, and that's what you want. Sympathy is not considered pro-social because sometimes it'll make people go, oh, you're feeling sorry for me, and now I'm feeling pitied, and that's not okay.
Yeah,
So,
no, pity is not a
no.
positive emotion, nor to have or to feel that you have, in towards you, right? So
Yes.
what led you to that? Because, like you started the music and then, had a consulting company with your husband. You weren't. So what was, or maybe there wasn't an exact moment, but what was the trigger for you to say, you know what, like empathy is really calling me, and it is calling me so much, I'm going to make a business out of it?
So this is my story, right? I've worked on music for 30 plus years, which is really hard to do since I'm only 26.
Yeah, I
And,
know.
I'm
I'm
doing
like a day older either. Yeah.
good lighting, right?
Sue, that's empathy.
It could be sympathy. I would feel pitied for that, but that's
No,
all
no, no,
right.
no, no, no. It was empathy. It was empathy. I feel with you. I feel with you. Honey, I'm with you.
That's definitely
That's
empathy.
right. Hey, Mike is back.
Yay. So I've done all this work. I've done all the traveling. I've done all the backstory. I've done all this work, and I put out my applications, and I'm working to be able to go in and get my big academic job, right? Because you got to realize for these academic jobs, right, to be a French horn professor, you might have 25 professors of business. You might have 35 professors of engineering. You have one French horn professor,
Yeah.
which means that you are waiting for somebody to die. essentially. So for me to go and finally get this job, I'm like, oh my God, I've got my big girl job. It's where I want to be. I was able to get back out on the West Coast. I was so excited. I couldn't wait. And within 3 months of me being there, I was assaulted by one of my colleagues.
Oh.
And I actually had never talked about this before. I was on Ollie's show with him on Saturday.
Hmm.
So forgive me. I'm just going to lay
No,
it out
that's
because this
okay.
is my how. And
And
this is,
it's important.
and it's why I'm passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to our boss, he said that as a junior female faculty member, if I was already stirring up trouble within 3 months, I was never going to get promoted to get tenure. When I went to his boss, I was told that if I didn't like it there, I could leave. When I went to the union, I found out that the guy who had assaulted me was head of the grievance committee.
Where's my gun?
Yeah. And then at that point, the guy that I was with at the time decided that he just couldn't take my drama anymore.
No.
And he left. But by left, I mean he cleaned out my bank account. I came home after work and he was gone. And I've never seen him again. So I fought that fight for about 7 years and finally had to walk away. And I basically kind of stayed in hiding for about 6 of those.
Hmm.
Lisa Marie was really instrumental in helping me pull that out. And so was Sierra, because she pointed out that I have a story to tell and that I need to get it out there. And the thing is, had I been shown any empathy by any of these people in a leadership position at any time, it could have saved the career that I'd been working on since I was 4.
Yeah.
But if I can't do that and I can't do what I've been born to do, then maybe I'm here to do something else. And maybe that's to champion this cause and to bring it out that leadership needs to know that we are people with feelings and with emotions. And if as leaders, they can't honor that and they can't actually listen to everything that's going on and understand that what they do has a profound impact, then either they need to learn it or maybe they need to step back.
Yeah.
So this is my passion.
I'm first of all, thank you so much for trusting us with that story, because we talk about showing vulnerability and it's in right now, and if you're vulnerable, you get a lot of likes and stuff like that, but and impressions, but god damn it, it's hard, because vulnerability is the first thing we want to see in others, but it's the last thing we want to show. And there's a reason for that, because we've been hurt, we've been burnt, we've been victim of abuse, our mom died. Like, there's a lot. I mean, being human is not easy. So
No.
thank you so much for trusting us with that story, because this is how you get your message out to the world, by showing that and by showing how you got to that point. And this is how people are going to connect to you. And goodness gracious, they all should, because you're so freaking amazing. It's not even funny. But I hear you when you say, well, I've been working like 30 years to get to that point, and now perhaps it's not what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And it's so beautiful to hear you say that, because you're taking the lemon, you're adding a little bit of vodka, and you're making a dry martini, right?
Yes.
So it's, yeah. And that, to me, and I'm going to stop talking in a second, but that to me is proof that you showed empathy for yourself. And it's difficult to show empathy with others when we are unkind with ourselves, because obviously someone should have listened. And obviously all these toxic males, don't name them to Mike, he's gonna freaking go shoot them. But police people, we are joking with the shooting, okay?
Right.
But
It's a figure of speech.
yeah, it's a figure of speech, but
Don't get mad.
it's so important to talk about toxic masculinity, because in the hounds we are so blessed to have so many wonderful, heartfelt, close to their feelings, not afraid to share their freaking emotions,
Yes.
beautiful men, and they have to be a part of the solution. They have to be.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm okay, I'm gonna shut up now.
Wow. I missed a good one. You know, of course my internet cuts out. It still ain't good. Um, but
But you're
yeah,
there.
I
We
mean,
can hear you.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and here's the thing. So this is something I've actually kept hidden for a long time because I thought that if I just put my head down and I worked hard, that eventually the people in charge would go away, that eventually my colleagues would get it, that eventually I would make it. And the leadership was never going to let me through. As soon as they circled the wagons, I was done. I just hung on for another 7 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because for a while I was homeless because of this. When the guy I was with left, there was no money. I was living in my car with a cat, and that was exciting. But I was teaching fitness classes at the time to try and make a few extra dollars. And person to person, those people, through empathy, are what kept me alive. That's why I'm doing this, because it's there. I know it is. I've seen it. I've felt it in the hounds. These people aren't heart-centered. They're heart-forward. I mean, there is no way that I can't help people that want to learn this to learn this. And it is so important that I've started a second doctorate, because I want to study this. And I don't just want to study what it is. I want to know how to teach it. I want to know how to make it actionable. And I want to know how to make people's lives better with it. And if you start at the top with the leadership because of the culture, it all trickles down.
Yes.
I can affect the most people at once.
Yes, absolutely. Starting with the neck up. Yeah. Because if the I've said that I've said it on a podcast recently because we're talking about rebels. You know, it has to do with my business, and the person said, "Well, how do you change a company culture?" I said, "Well, the first thing you have to look at is the top, because how do you get a fish to stop smelling? You cut its head."
Yes.
Right? So if
Yes.
the head is bad, there's nothing good happening underneath. It's just not possible. So the work that you're doing is so important and is so needed, because that is how the company cultures and the culture overall it has a chance of changing.
Yes. Yes. And we can do it one at a time. We
Yes,
can do
can.
this.
We have to.
Yes, we do. If
Yeah.
not us, who?
Eh,
If not now, when?
Amen, sister. Mike, do you feel left out from this conversation? Because you can go. You can have
Poor
a beer
Mike.
now. We're gonna continue talking.
I'm so sorry. I kind of killed the party. I didn't mean to, but that's
No. Well, I certainly don't feel like this. And if you look at in the comment section, I don't think anybody thinks that you've killed the party. Actually, quite the opposite. You're touching our heart.
Well, that's what I want to do, because when we as human beings meet heart to heart, that's where empathy begins.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Mike, do you have anything to say, or am I really taking over your show?
You needed to. I missed like the best part. I'm over here all pixelated, looking stupid, smelling coffee like I'm like, man, I want this coffee now. Well, let me ask you that, because I heard enough of it. Right? Wow, super compelling. I mean, you're not just somebody who took a 3-month course and now
No.
you're some certified coach. You lived in a car with a cat. You went through hell and back. So, what is it that? Here's what I want to know. What's the difference? Maybe you asked this, forgive me. What's the difference between having compassion or sympathy and exercising empathy in your daily life or work? Like what does that look like? I mean, it's like, oh, well, I feel bad for you versus I can actually put myself in there. Like, how do you explain this?
So empathy and compassion actually go together. Sympathy is a negative emotion. Well, it's not a negative emotion, but it creates negative ripples, because when you show somebody sympathy, a lot of times it's translated as pity, and nobody wants to be pitied because it's right next to being judged. So sympathy, it seems good, but it's not. Empathy, you're feeling what the other person is feeling. I feel with you. We are both sitting in the swamp together, right? From empathy, from that feeling, you should be able to feel that emotion, and that emotion in you should cause some kind of discomfort. Oh my God, I feel it. Now, that does not mean, I should add, that you're taking responsibility for the other person's emotions. You're not stepping in and saying, let me fix this. That's not it. But it's that I feel it with you, and we are in the suck together. And then in response to that feeling of discomfort, you take action, and that action is compassion. So that's how those all link together.
Nice. I had a psychologist one time, not for me, but I was talking to him as a friend. I do, yeah, well, not my psychologist, another psychologist. I have a whole team of them. Let me look at me, but yeah, it's like an OR when I go in.
I know, dude.
But
I'm
I
your
had
alligator.
yeah, that's my emotional support alligator. That's where I got the prescription. All right, so you know,
Yes.
do you think? So it was wild because it's like some people are not born with empathy, or they struggle with empathy, right? And I was like,
Yes.
wow. I mean, I had too much of it, and so if someone does struggle with it, they're good people, they mean well, but they have trouble connecting. Is there practical things they can do to get better, or at least not to accidentally act like they don't care or miscommunicate? Like, have you encountered this?
There is. And actually, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because there's two kinds of people like that. If it's someone who, okay, so 95% of people are either born with some kind of empathy, or it comes through nature, or it comes through nurture. Children start showing like proto-empathetic behaviors around 18 months. Most of us have it to some degree. Yeah, they'll show like helping behaviors where, Mom, let me hand you the spoon, that kind of thing. They're watching what's going on and they want to help. So if that's the case, and this is someone who has empathy, even just a little bit, you can work on it. It's just like developing a talent. It's like developing any talent. You practice, 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 and you can do it, But the trick is, it's like any adult learning model. First, they have to be aware there's a gap, and then they have to have the desire to fix it. Like if I drink, 48 cans of Diet Coke every day, and I'm aware that those sweeteners are bad for me, but I have no desire to fix it, I'm not going to. Nobody is, for whatever reason. So as an adult, you have to have both the awareness and the desire. But it is possible. You can do it. You have to want to do it. Now, unfortunately, there's about 5% of the population, give or take. It depends on which studies you read. Some say 3, some say 5, but you start dealing with dark triad personalities, which are your psychopaths, sociopaths, Machiavellians, and narcissists. Because if I'm going to study the light, I also have to study the shadow so I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Now, by definition, these dark triad personalities lack empathy. Like that's in what it is. Now, and let me be clear about this. As I say this, it's not a diagnosis. I have people get uptight about this, and it's like, you're diagnosing them. No. These are maladaptive personality traits. It's not a diagnosis. In order to make a diagnosis, there has to be something going wrong enough that these people want help, and these people don't want help. They feel that what they're doing is just fine. So here's the problem. Looking at these 3 personality types, maybe there's 5% in the population, but the estimate is that it's as high as 20% in leadership positions, with surgeons and physicians, with people in high government, because they'll do what it takes to get these positions, and it offers them a lot of reward, both financially and in terms of power. So if you run into someone like this, there's nothing you can do for them because they just don't have it. The problem is there's something called cognitive empathy, which is where you logically can get a hold of it. You're like, oh, I see you're sad, and I can mimic back the emotion that I think you want to see. And that's what these people do. It's actually called dark empathy. And it can actually be kind of dangerous because if they learn to mimic it well enough, it can become part of their manipulative arsenal. And that's a problem.
Wait, how can you spot it, or can you?
It's really hard to spot. It's next to impossible. Psychologists can't always spot it because these people are really good. And by definition, psychopaths, narcissists, and Machiavellians tend to be smart.
Yes.
So it's a real problem.
There's a reason they don't get caught.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me time out because I am intrigued by this. I hope, hey, audience, chime in here. I would love to know what you think. We'll flash it on the screen. So, can someone be a what we would consider a good, good-hearted person, meaning well, and be this, right? Or are they unaware? Like they have no, like, do they not? Are they aware that they're doing it? That they are they aware that hey, I'm pretending to have empathy here, or is it just kind of like a dog barking? Is it just kind of an autopilot? Do they have awareness of this? Like,
You're talking dark triad, right? You're talking, are
right,
those people aware of it? They don't care. They have a whole different brain physiology. They don't care. Like, so in EEG, right? You've seen it on like CSI and everything where they put them into the machine and parts of the brain light up. When you put somebody in with those that's the certifiable dark triad person, the limbic region of the brain, which is what controls emotion, doesn't light up. It's not biologically there. And there's actually a certain amount of conjecture that this is a completely genetic thing. Now, understand, there's a ton of studies going on about this right now because it's kind of a hot topic. So even as I say this, they may come up with something completely new tomorrow. But as it stands right now, they know they don't care. But if they can actually develop cognitive empathy as a means of better manipulating people, they will, and they still don't care. That's why the ones that actually do go to prison, the rate of recidivism or that they get sent back to prison is like 85% because they don't care. They know what they are. It gets them what they want.
Could they not be helped medically?
If they wanted to be.
Okay, so there is a possibility of adding chemicals or whatever, but since they don't give a shit to begin with, there's less probability that they'll actually take the pill.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, they don't see it as a problem, so why would they find a fix for it?
Yeah. Well, because it's not a problem for them, right?
Right. It's a problem. And they see it that way. Well, they were weak, so they had it coming. Well, they deserved it because they were stupid with their money. Well, I'm made better, so I'm supposed to be on top of the world because I'm smarter, I'm better, I'm this. It's a power trip. So, I mean, that's the difference between saying that these are maladaptive personality types and an actual diagnosis. If you look at the DSM-5, I think we're on 5 now, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Health, it doesn't actually become a disorder until it starts affecting somebody's life negatively. That's why it's like depression disorder. If you actually get to the point that you're saying a narcissistic disorder, that means it's negatively affecting their life in some way, which probably means it's been court mandated. It's a really sticky thing.
And I have a very technical question, and I don't want to be buried in the technical, but do we know, like chemically or even on an hormone level, what they are lacking in their physiognomy, in the way that their brain is wired? Can we yet explain how this happens?
Not completely.
No, not yet. Yeah.
Because of the nature and the nurture.
Yeah.
let me. I got to chime in, man. An audience, let it rip because I find this extremely.
It is. Yeah.
And by the way, audience, because I'm sitting here listening to her and like I'm looking back in like 20 years ago, going, man, I met somebody like that. I had no idea what was happening. Like, so here's my question, because I think a lot of people are asking this to themselves. So let's say we have, and again, not a doctor. I'm like Mr. Pibb, not Dr. Pepper. All right. So,
as long as you know that.
I have a,
yeah.
yeah, I've got a Dr. CJ and I got you. So yeah, we're good. So here's my question.
Yeah.
So if we have people who have common, like in the common spectrum of empathy, or that were really empathic, right? We were just overloaded with it. we're kind of, it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that we're shoe-ins and suckers for someone on the opposite end of the spectrum, like you're talking about. So in the workforce, relationships, and etc., how can we identify it? Because most of us in this, like people pleasers, and we see the good in everyone. And if we encounter somebody like that, it seems like it would be a nightmare and we wouldn't even know it. So what can we do to be aware, discerning, and even guard against it in our life and business and work? Because that seems like it could be a real bad thing.
Yes. So number one, let me just add that that's precisely why I got into this, because I am next to 100%. I mean, I can't make a diagnosis, but I'm pretty sure the guy who assaulted me is a psychopath, or at the very least showed a huge cluster of psychopathic traits, because it didn't just happen to me. That's the problem. It wasn't just me. So if you see these people, what you're looking at is what's called a symptomology. So you're not looking for one trait against one person. You're looking and saying, does this happen often? Does this happen to everybody? How do they treat their wife? How do they treat their husband? How do they treat their dog? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat the people they see as above them? And how do they treat those below them? The best thing that we as empaths can do is to step back and watch, because we are easy prey for these people, and they know that. They know that. They prey on us. So we just have to be very, watchful, make sure we understand what's going on, that kind of thing. Shoot, you got me so excited. I'm losing my scarf, man. You see that?
Don't lose your
Goodness.
car. I like it.
Don't lose your clothes, dude. Don't
Oh
lose
my
your
goodness.
clothes. Yes.
And we also have to be willing to put up boundaries sometimes. Most people that have this empathy, we also can kind of get a sense. And if you're around someone like that and your antennas go up and they go, there may not be something quite right about this person. You don't have to dislike them. You don't have to dismiss them, but you should take a step back and go, what's going on here? Why did I feel that? Did I pick up something that I didn't realize I had picked up consciously? Is there something going on here that I didn't see? Because if you have that level of empathy, you probably also have that level of awareness. Listen to your instinct. Listen to your gut. It's called a gut instinct for a reason.
Yeah, and I find, if I can add anything to this, I find that people very often confuse being a people pleaser and being empathic.
Right.
Empathetic. Is it empathetic or is it empathic?
Usually,
What's the
I
right
would say
word?
empathy,
Okay.
empathic.
Empathic. Thank you.
If you say empathetic, you end up with pathetic on the back end of
Okay.
that word.
Okay.
No, people do
empathic.
use it. You're right, but
No, but because there's a difference between the two. I don't believe that the motivation is the same. So the people pleaser can't say no. They seem to be incapable, but there's a lot of self-worth issues in this. But you
Yes.
can be extremely empathic and say no with empathy, because
Yes.
it's just not the right thing for you. And I find there's a lot of confusion. And what would be the signs for you to recognize one and recognize the others?
I'm not sure what you mean. Can you clarify?
What would be, how do you know, like if I came to you and say, Melissa, I don't know if I'm a people pleaser or if I'm just extremely empathic.
Mm-hmm.
How would you differentiate the two?
That's a fantastic question.
Thank you.
Because,
Okay, bye everybody. I've done my job.
great show. No, it is. It's a fantastic question,
you.
because a lot of people who develop empathy develop it very early in childhood. And because in the process, you're also trying to please your parents, and that could very well be where this is coming from, the two can develop together. Here's the thing. If you're just being a people pleaser, if that's it, and you're just like, oh, I just want to make everybody happy and sunshine and rainbows and puppies, you know the people I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
They're little, if it's just that, you're not necessarily feeling anybody else's emotions. You're just trying to please and make everybody happy. And sometimes that can just be because you want that power of feeling you're making other people happy. I mean, doing nice things for other people feels good. You might just be that person that automatically, tries to really please everybody just so that there's no friction at all, conflict avoidance. That happens too. But if you're feeling somebody else's emotion and you feel that discomfort because of it, and you try to step in and help for that reason, it's empathy. If it's empathy, there's no doubt because you feel it. You have to, by definition.
That's a good
Wow.
answer.
Okay. So so I heard the term gaslighting, right, for a long time, and I had to look it up. So let me ask you this, because I know people in the audience have to experience this. We all have. We're on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
But so and again, I know you're just talking, you can't, give it the disclaimers and all that. I get it. But from an academic standpoint,
Yeah.
I found myself throughout the life, I found myself going, am I nuts? Like my interactions with people or circumstance where I'm going, am I losing my mind? Like, am I stupid? So is that a common thing when you encounter this and you're going, like the sun came up on the other side of the earth? Like, am I losing my marbles? Is that so? If we encounter this, what are some signs that we can look for to make to that, like, oh, I'm not nuts. I might be in an unhealthy dynamic right now. Like, what's your advice here? Because this is good stuff. Because we're going to encounter people all day long, and
Yes.
it's nice to kind of know that when your spidey sense goes up, there's a way to test it out. So what's
Yes.
your advice? Like, is when you think you're going nuts,
You're probably not.
Yep.
So if we're talking about gaslighting in particular, it's a manipulative ploy. So if someone is gaslighting you, it's because they are manipulating you and they want to keep power over you. So by keeping you unstable and off balance, they can keep, the Vader death grip. They can keep that power over you. So ways to look for that is if someone looks at you and is like, no, I never said that, but you know that you did. Or they say, you said that yesterday. I heard you say it, and you know that you didn't. So it can be like, sometimes it can be like incredibly blatant. So the best defense that you have against that is to be absolutely centered and sure of yourself. You know who you are. You know what you're about. You know you're not someone to frivolously say silly things. You know exactly where your heart is centered. So whatever that person is saying, it isn't right because you are absolutely centered and sure of who you are.
And every
Okay.
woman in the audience is going, I went through this.
Yes.
At
With
some
an
point.
X, anything.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. You just
But
gonna have to
not
grab a
with you,
sandwich.
Mike. Not with you. With you. Not
Not
with you,
yet.
Mike. Not with you.
Not yet. No, never. Okay. Wow, I'm blown away by this because this is fascinating to me.
Yes.
So if correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I can gather. If you find yourself in a position where you're being manipulated or you think you might, or it's unhealthy, you're unhappy, but distance yourself or remove yourself from it, right? Would that be the best solution? But if you can't, because you're stuck
Yeah.
at work, what's the next best thing? Academically, of course.
So if you're in a job like that and you just can't get out and you're just stuck, the best thing you can do is go gray rock. And what that means is that as little interaction as possible. And those interactions are, hey, the weather's nice. Nice tie, looks great. See, they got new tile on the floor. It's like talking to a gray rock. That's why it's called that. So as gray rock as you possibly can. Now, here's the thing. Say you've got a boss and that boss is holding your career in his or her fist, right? You can't go gray rock. You're stuck in that position because that person holds your career in their hands. Do you see what I'm talking about here? They held my career in their hands. And I wasn't smart enough to go gray rock. I went in fighting, and it was the worst possible thing that I could have done. What I should have done was gone what's called yellow rock. And what that means is you warm it up because you're telling them how great they are. You're such an amazing boss. Oh, you're such an incredible mentor. And as little as possible, stay away from it as much as possible. Use that to leverage and get you out. But understand that as long as you are in contact with this person, they are not going to get better. Things are not going to change. And you better watch your back at all times because you are in a dangerous position. And there's some relationships like this too. I mean, there's people in marriages that they can't get out for financial reasons because of the kids, because it's community property and they can't lose the house. Go as gray rock as possible and just try to stay away from it if you can, and get help. Talk to a therapist, talk to somebody, make sure other people know what you're going through, get the support that you need.
Oh, and friendships, business. I mean, it's all
Yep.
around. It can happen anywhere.
Yep.
Isabel, I want you to chime in, but one thing that I found to handle all these different types of things is taking responsibility for yourself, right? Like, so instead of saying this person, that person, blah, 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 hey, what the hell am I doing? Because no one can really do anything to me unless I allow it. Now, that's a very general thing. If you're stuck and you're dependent, but here's my idea. This is the country advice. Work your ass off to get out of that situation. It may not be tomorrow, but go ahead and start taking steps to get yourself. So I don't have the money to leave. We'll start crushing tin cans and figuring out ways to be self-sufficient. Is that
Yes.
like, what's your expert opinion? To me, it's, and I've had people that I've encountered that took that advice and they're like, well, I can't leave today, but in 3 months I can be in a position to leave this job or leave this relationship or whatever. So what's your experience tell you? Like, what's your advice?
So again, non psychologist,
Academic.
non therapist. I mean, I've studied it a lot, but I'm not a therapist. I know I got to put those disclaimers out there, though. I
That's
have
okay.
to. I mean, I have a doctorate, but not in medicine.
But you have
So
experience, and that's what I'm drawing from. You have
yes,
life experience as a human being and in academia. So let it rock.
yes.
We get it.
So yes, that's good advice, but with the caveat that if you're actually dealing with a seriously dark triad person, they don't like to lose. Narcissists in particular, say you go to divorce this person's going to be the one that's going to slander you as much as possible. This person is going to be the one that's going to call in the flying monkeys, which means they get all of the friends and the family and everybody and turn them
On their
against you
side.
because they gaslight them as well. They're going to fight you in court. They're going to want to take the kids, not because they want the kids, because they want to damage you. These people don't like to give up and they really don't like to lose. It's part of that makeup. So yes, you want to be able to do it, but you want to back out the door carefully and you want to make sure you have everything covered when you do it. Because the best possible scenario is if they leave you, because if they left you, then it's their idea, right? Every good marriage works because someone understands that you've got to make the other person think that it's their idea. That's why I'm married, because my husband understands I let him think it's his idea. If you let them
Smart
think
lady.
if
We
you let
love
them
that
think,
shit.
And he's in the audience because he commented earlier. And by the way, you're right, Dan. It's not just women.
I knew he's going to be out there causing trouble and saying
Oh,
inappropriate
no.
things.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, Melissa. It's just that I said every woman in the audience has been, touched by someone like that. And he just commented, not just women. And he's right. It's just that I happen to be a woman. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh
But
no, I'll give him
yeah.
a stern talking to later. Yeah.
Oh,
Dan,
he's right.
Dan, call me. I'll show
And I
you
wish
empathy.
and I wish we had another hour today because we can go into that because people do it differently, right? I mean, I would imagine, Melissa, men and women as a generalization, do it, how you see it, how they do it comes out different, right? I've noticed that like the scariest place on earth is a woman's DMs and their social media, right? I've seen a lot of those. So I noticed that, like, just in general, like when somebody wants to strike up a convo, they're interested or whatever, they could be creepy. Like men are just like, hey, you're hot, me like it's real simple. But women will just kind of go in and just have this conversation for a month, and then you're like, what's going on here? So I've seen this myself from my uneducated, viewpoint. So what is it, just briefly? Like, is it boundary setting? Is it inner values? Like how can we best arm ourselves? Okay, Izzy's like, oh hell
Can
yes.
I venture and I want to go first, Melissa, because I want your expert opinion after. Okay,
All right.
so I will venture a guess, and I find, and maybe it's just women out there. I'm not insulting anyone. Maybe it's just my generation. But we were raised on Cinderella and on Sleeping Beauty and on all, they got married and it was, they lived happily ever after. And of course, in every Hollywood movie, there's a mandatory kissing scene. And we are all saved by someone, right? I know it isn't like that anymore. I don't have kids, so I don't watch kids' movies. And we were taught from a very young age that we are to be saved, and we are to save them, but in a different way. So
Yes.
women of my generation, again, ladies, please don't feel insulted. I'm not pointing out fingers with anybody. That's my disclaimer. But in the beginning of romantic relationships and friendship and partnerships, women, when they are being told who that person is by that person, we don't listen.
Yes.
That's it. I'm done.
We can save them.
Thank you, Melissa. Where the hell is my PhD?
Nice.
You got it, man. No, that's okay. So obviously nothing is across the board because nothing ever is.
No, obviously not. No, obviously not.
Yeah, but I mean, nature versus nurture. If this is how we are nurtured, and there's large numbers of us that are nurtured in that way, yes. And the interesting thing is that if you actually look at some of these dark triad traits, they do show differently in men versus women. So let's talk about narcissism. Like if you're talking about a male narcissist, you might have the grandiose narcissist. You think of the guy that I'm full of myself and I'm going to show you my muscles kind of dude, but usually they're loud, they're pompous. They're the ones that will get into business and then wash out right away. But there's there's 8 different kinds of narcissism. There's also weak narcissism, which is where they're like, oh, I could have been something if I hadn't had everybody go against me and my parents had loved me and oh, I want someone to save me. And women fall for that because I could have been a star otherwise. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
And then there's like 6 other different kinds. Women as narcissists show up as the ones who need to be saved. They manipulate men by, oh, I'm such a damsel in distress. I have no money. My car is broke down. I have all these kids. Will you save me?
Mm-hmm. And do you find that women tend to, because that's, we see that on social media all the time. And, we've seen Oprah make 10,000 videos about this. When people tell you who they are from the get-go, listen. So
Yes.
my question to the professor here is it typically a woman's behavior not to listen when the man is showing us who he is with his behavior, or is it both and it just shows up differently?
It's both, because it's actually an empathic behavior. Because as empaths, we want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Oh, he's not so bad. He just had a bad childhood. Oh, he must have just had a rough afternoon. That's just his way. That's just the way he is. So it's not a male-female split. It's what we as empaths do.
Beautiful.
My little country brain exploded about, I don't know, 40 minutes ago. Seriously, holy cow. This is the most fascinating conversation because all of us, I mean, think about all of us can, if you live on Earth for at least 10 years, you've experienced some of this, right?
Yes.
Or you did it. It's
Yes.
kind of, here's my 50 degrees opinion here. It's like this. This is how I explain it. Y'all ready for the redneckism here? All right.
Yes.
When I moved, I told y'all this before. My wife and I moved into the new neighborhood, and months went by, and I said, "You know what? We don't have any bad neighbors." And she said, "Yeah, that means we're the bad neighbors." So, hey, all narcissists and people,
Poor Mike.
if you never have a problem and nothing ever bothers you, read a book, all right? Because like so. Like here, I want to bring Lion up because I want to make sure that people get to know you. And by the way, connect with Melissa. she's probably going to go after the show, put your stuff in there. Guys, connect, follow her. She is a rock star. And you walk the walk. That's what I love about the hounds. They don't just read this stuff and then send it out there. They do it. Even Dr. CJ, who teaches like 50 places,
Yeah.
does it. He's building stuff. So
Yep.
I'll ask the question here. All right. Oh, and by the way, is there any place else, or is LinkedIn the best place to find you? Because I know people want to connect with you like now. And
LinkedIn is the best place. And if someone wants to actually, talk to me about coaching or talk to me about the speaking that I do, or my book that's going to be coming out probably this summer or in the fall, there's a book and appointment place there. I do speaking engagements anywhere. I do it live. I do it virtually. I have podcasts. Anywhere podcasts are found, and my YouTube channel as well, which I would love to get some support for that, because it actually gives me a place to suss some of this out and be able to discuss it so that I can put it into my book and put it into my dissertation. So yeah, those are probably the best places to find me, but I would take any support from my fellow empaths that they want to give.
oh my gosh. Hey, I suspect that the Hounds platform or chat rooms, there's an empath. That thing ought to blow up, man, because like all of us, it's kind of like
Yes.
general chat, right?
Yes.
We're all mostly empathic. Here's the signature question, and everybody hanging in there. Thank you for this. The comments. Dan's got to be a good man. Look, he's hanging in there. I love it. So here's the variation. I'm going to ask this to everyone. So let's say you find yourself confused, right? And you're not new to this. You're kind of new to this situation, right? You're at work or a friendship, and you feel like something's off. What do you say to somebody who's unfamiliar with encountering these triads and narcissism or manipulation or gaslighting? What's the very first thing they can do to take a positive action if they feel like they're getting gaslighted?
First of all, I mean, not to sound trite, but you have got to love yourself. You have got to be solid in yourself. You have got to know who you are and what you're about. And this stuff has got to fall off like Teflon so that you can accurately identify it. If you don't love yourself and you don't have that in your mind first, you're easily manipulated, because you're like, well, maybe he's right. Maybe I am lazy. Maybe he's right. Maybe I can't do this job. Maybe he's right. Maybe I am stupid. So the best thing you can do is love yourself, get clear on who you are and what you stand for. And once you're absolutely solid in your foundation and footing, trust your gut, because it's good.
Hey, I'm going to say something that was brilliant. I'm going to say something kind of smart. All right. That's why you seek external validation, right? Well, you suck as this. Oh, well, I'll try better because I need that person to believe in me. That's
Right.
so yeah, if you're not sure, but you find yourself doing stuff that you probably really wouldn't do, there you go. So Isabel, you've lived on Earth, all right? You deal with people all day long, all the time.
Lived on
So
Earth for over 5 decades. Yeah.
Yeah.
what's
I
your
mean,
advice for someone who is maybe they're ready to take a stand, maybe they're ready to face the fact that they're getting manipulated by people?
Walk
What do you think? What's
away.
that?
Walk away. Love yourself enough to walk away.
yes.
I'm an extremely, you know this about myself, about me, Mike. I'm an extremely positive person. I'm an extremely empathic person, and I learned an English word today. But my self-worth isn't based on anybody else's opinions of me, and I learned that the hard way. I have the scars to prove it. And my favorite word, even though I'm positive, my favorite word is no. But I don't say it in a mean way. I say it with empathy, and I say no more often than I say yes, because by saying no often, I get to better yeses.
Yes. Remember when I said that even though you're in the suck with the person, you don't take responsibility for their bad emotions? You nailed it right on the head. That's exactly what it is. Because just because I feel that with you doesn't mean I need to make bad decisions because I feel bad for you.
Yeah. I have an analogy, and if you give me 2 minutes, Mike, I'll share it with you. A long time ago, I was talking to my aunt, and she said, You know, Isabel, she was trying to show this to me, and she said, Isabel, if I bought you a $5,000 dress, it's a gorgeous dress. It's the most beautiful dress you have ever seen in the world. You love it, but it's the wrong size. Then it's beautiful. It is in your taste. But it doesn't fit you. That doesn't make you bad, and it doesn't make the dress bad. It just does not fit. Well, the same goes for people.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
I'm done.
No, that's good stuff. I mean, look, the people who are still here actually are engaged in this, right? Like, because everybody's got to go potty and they're still here anyway. All
We
right?
love the
It's been a long
people.
show. So, Lion, I can't wait to hear this guy, man.
Yes.
I don't know if I could set him off if I tried hell, but all right, you're a military, you're a family man, you do a lot, you encounter people daily. You've had to encounter someone trying, or maybe did. So what does your experience tell you? What's a good advice you can give somebody? Hey, somebody's trying to control me here, man. Gaslight.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't want to phrase it as advice. I'll just tell people what I do, and in that way they can, maybe adapt it to their personality. Again, because my personality is very different. I agree with them. That's all I do. If you tell me 2 + 2 is 5, I say, yep, you're right. That's it. I have no room for arguments. I have no room for you. Yeah, and kind of along the line of what Isabel was saying, I use the blue hair analogy. Right? If someone walks up to you and say, you know what, you've got the ugliest blue hair. It's the worst. It looks bad, but your hair is blonde. It doesn't affect you because you know that your hair is blonde. But if you had blue hair, then you're like, really? It's bad? So if you know who you are at your core, it doesn't affect you.
Right.
Lion, your beard is ugly. Okay, thank you. Yep.
That's gray rocking. What you're doing
Yeah,
when
see,
they
that's
come to you and they say 2 + 2 is 5, and you're like, okay, that's gray rocking.
I'm rocking the gray then.
You're rocking it, man.
let me chime in here. We got to take the word alpha male and put the shit back, right? Like, so that's an alpha male right there. That's what the true definition historical is alpha male. Man take care of his business. He knows who he is. If you say something, he don't care, right? Man, that's why we get along, because I start rattling off some silly shit, you're like, whatever, because you don't care. That's why we will never have a fight. I knew that when I met you. I said, oh, good deal, right? I love this. Hey, look, man, we got to have Lion back on. I just want to see you and Lion talk for an hour. That's what I want to see now. Jay, go. All right.
I'm gonna have to get some of his coffee first, man.
Yes, go get my coffee, my beast milk, and
a Lion bar. Oh my God, that's amazing!
You guys don't even know. I don't even tell y'all half of the stories, man.
Oh my goodness, Lion, you're so priceless.
Oh, wait, is anybody still here?
I don't know, dude.
Oh man, we had hundreds come in, but everybody's like, "Oh, they're gonna talk till midnight because this is important. This is great, man." We got.
Yeah, my wife says she appreciates the coffee. Also, you getting the coffee. So anyone else, grab y'all a bag.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll take a picture because you can't see it. I look like Atari graphics.
Absolutely. Outro going in 3, 2, 1. Oh, that would have been more dramatic if it happened.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.